It's Wednesday, January 13th, 2016. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight, instead of talking about Hog Hawks, we're talking about My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, in its continuance. Since we talked about it once a long time ago, and more ponies have come out since then. And I did a long opener just now, because Scott doesn't like it when I do that.
It's not good.
Burn my shave.
Let's do this.
So I made a vow that I wouldn't talk about my bicycle commute at any point for 2015 in the beginning of Geek Nights. And it's now 2016, and someone reminded me I can totally talk about my bike commute again. And in some sort of gift of the Magi bullshit, it's winter, and I'm not biking to work.
Why don't you bike to work in the cold? I see people doing it.
I thought about it.
It's not snowing.
I've actually thought about it a bunch of times.
You like buying fancy equipment that I refuse to buy.
I already have that equipment because it's the same kind of stuff I use when I ski sometimes. The only reason I haven't is that I usually wake up and it's kind of too late to get all that shit together. Like it's a production to put on the stuff to be able to bike in the cold like that.
Sure, but I mean, if I bike to work, I get there sooner than taking the subway. So
these days, yeah. That's fine though. Cuomo's got a plan. They're gonna shut down like half the subway for multiple years. For
good.
Some
That'll
nonsense.
make the train go faster.
Except no, it won't. It's all cosmetic work primarily.
Yeah, no, it'll make the train go faster, skipping those stations.
Oh, in the interim, you're
on
talking
the way
about
to
right
work.
now. At least they're not shutting down my station, so.
And they're shutting down only one of the two stations that are equidistant from me on the same train. So
they might shut down the L into Manhattan, which actually might be a disaster. I think more humans commute on that subway than live in most counties in the U.S.
Good.
Like I think more economic harm will happen by that one subway line being down than if multiple cities got nuked in the U.S.
No, I mean, this is a person who's on the way out, right? You know, it's like he's basically just fucking everything up on the way out. Like, aha.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't do this at the start of your term, because then you get unelected the next time.
Except he's doing all this stuff, and then he's doing all this PR saying, hey, New York, I got your back. I think the regular old Democrats, not to get into New York state politics too much, were worried that, yeah, Cuomo won the governorship, but Zephyr Teachout got, like, the majority of the vote in New York City.
Of course.
The city's starting to turn against upstate real hard because upstate can eat a dick. But I digress. That's my opening bit.
That's your opening. No
that's
one
what I
cares.
got for the first part
I'm sure
of Geek Nights.
all 99.9% of the listeners who don't live in New York, right?
Yeah, you know what? You guys should live in New York.
You should, even if they did live in New York, if this was the New York podcast, no one wants to hear about that.
Are you kidding? That's all. I subscribe to the Gothamist. That's all the Gothamist is stuff like that. It's just like, hey, look at this thing.
I subscribe to the Gothamist for Pizza Rat stories.
Did you see how Pizza Rat was fabricated?
That's fine.
That same person fabricated all those rat videos.
I don't care.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I mean, I have a
That's the level
everything
of investigative
I don't trust
journalism
any.
we get. You guys probably heard about our Pizza Rat. You have no idea that there was a conspiracy to create Pizza Rat.
I mean, you know, I don't believe anything I read on the internet anyway. So
yeah, I mean, it did happen. It was just contrived.
Sure.
It's like when you see two cosplayers do a funny skit in the middle of an anime con, they plan that shit ahead of time.
No kidding.
So, in other news, a bunch of Anna Twitter was sort of talking about how Netflix changed the way categories work and how anime just shows up in its normal category instead of in the anime category.
Hooray!
So I thought, hey, that'll be good news for Geek Nights because I got a lot to say about that.
But is it true?
Yeah, so I went poking around, and there was no article saying that this happened, and I basically had to do some investigative journalism. So I logged into Netflix. I actually forgot my password for Netflix, so it took me a minute. And I logged in, and sure enough, the anime category is still there. But if you go to sci-fi anime just show up with everything else. Like they're normal, like they're just popular media, alongside some cartoons.
I really like to see that data on whether some animes get more watched, or how many people who've never watched an anime before watch one, and things of that nature, and what pages people click on anime series from to begin watching them. Like, are animes only getting watched by clicks from the anime category page, or are they getting watches, you know, from the sci-fi page?
Because, frankly, we've talked about this like tangentially on a bunch of other Geek Nights episodes, and pretty much anyone who knows about the anime and comics industry knows about this. But basically, anime and manga are crazy popular in the U.S.
Mad popular.
Yet the press talks about comics like they sell at all. Like they're like, oh, they talk about, oh, some Superman comic sold, you know, 10,000 copies. Crazy. Holy shit. And they kind of forget that like any given shitto manga sells more than like the number 2 through number 9 in the top 10 list of sold comics.
I mean, Attack on Titan outsells like Batman and Superman and all that stuff, right? It's
so
like,
the media coverage of American comics makes it seem like they're very popular, but in reality, they pretty much get outsold by random shoujo manga number 4.
Yeah, the New York Times has two lists, because they manage all these bestseller lists, and there's the main, New York Times bestseller list of books, of novels, right? But they have a whole bunch of other ones way down there, and they have a graphic novel bestseller list, and then they have a separate manga bestseller list. And why do they have this? Because if they didn't have it, it would just be the manga bestseller list, because even the top things on the not manga bestseller list like don't come close.
Yep.
It's like what's near the top of the graphic novel bestseller list. Good stuff. Really great stuff. Like I think Kate Beaton, Princess and the Pony was up there.
Yeah,
right?
That's good stuff.
But as much as I love Kate Beaton and bought that book, and you should too, and buy the stuffed animal, but I didn't buy that. It doesn't outsell Attack on Titan.
So I think this is a really big deal because most people I know who got into anime from nothing, who aren't just ultra nerds, get into it either because a friend tricks them into watching some anime and they're like, oh shit, that was good, or they stumble onto it because they were looking for a sci-fi movie.
Well, it's also, people, when they think of the popularity of anime, they try to think of like the number of anime fans. And first of all, that number is a lot bigger than people think. They're just not paying attention to the fact how big like Anime Expo is.
Yeah,
and how
you talk about Comic Cons. All right, there's 2 or 3 Comic Cons that are big. Most Comic Cons have attendance in the thousands. Meanwhile, Otakon, if you count the way Comic Cons do, has like 90,000 plus people at it, and no one talks about it.
Right. So you also have to consider the fact there's all these people who aren't anime fans, right? They wouldn't say that they're an anime fan. They don't go to Anime News Network. They don't follow anime people on Twitter, right? They don't go to anime convention, but they watch an anime. They watch a lot of animes.
I know. I run into a lot of people who have seen Attack on Titan.
My mom watches animes. All the kids at the high school know what Dragon Ball is, right? Even today, high school kids, like kids who are 16 right now, watch Dragon Ball, know what it is, right?
Yep.
They know that Soul Eaters. Right? It's like, now if you ask them if they're an anime fan, they'd be like, no, but, they're into like video games or something. Maybe they're right. But
this is a big deal because the anime ghetto has to go away in certain, like in Netflix and everything. Like
all ghettos need to go away. No ghettos.
That's the whole point of GeekNights. Geek, broaden your horizons. You should listen to all the GeekNights and be into games and anime and politics, even though Scott's not into politics. But I am. I'm a nerd about politics. But anyway.
Waste of time.
So I'm right here in the sci-fi and fantasy on Netflix. So there's that old live action He-Man Masters of the Universe. Jules Verne's Center of the Earth, like the old classic.
Oh, yeah. Journey to the Center of the Earth. That's a good book.
The Forgotten, Berserk. Oh, that anime Berserk is just hanging out right here next to all that shit. Some Star Trek. Full Metal Alchemist is in here. Little Witch Academia. Oh, shit. The Little Witch Academia is here. I forgot that came out. I feel like we should watch that like real soon.
Yep.
I cannot stress to you enough how important it is that Netflix did this. And also how... Don't subscribe to Crunchyroll, just subscribe to Hulu. Most of the anime is in there, and that's where most people are watching it.
Crunchyroll's adding a bunch of new animes recently. I mean, new to Crunchyroll anime.
Yeah.
But it's like Hulu has all the anime you actually want to watch right now, and you can get the ad-free version. I guess if you finish watching everything on Hulu, then you could sign up for Crunchyroll and watch the other stuff. The one thing I miss from the Crunchyroll Hulu doesn't have are the weirdo animes.
Yeah.
Right?
Like Folk Tales from Japan, which is still one of my favorite shows.
Horror News.
Yeah, Horror News. Forgot about that show.
The weirdo ones, but that's okay.
Yamishibai Jikandayo.
Yeah, that one.
So, in other news, we were talking about this before the show, but there's an old Penny Arcade comic where one of the characters is off and there's 2 characters sitting there and suddenly a weird clock rings and the stars align and someone's like, that clock never rings.
You don't remember what that comic was about, do you?
And then Gabe jumps in being like, hit points, mana.
Right, because basically, at that time period, right, Mike Krahulik, right, Gabe was a person who did not play the RPGs.
At all. Like he was done with them. He didn't play
He didn't play the Final Fantasies or the D&Ds, right?
So he wasn't paying attention to them either.
The Jerry Holkins, the bald Tycho. He
Not
was
bald in the comic.
he was the D&D dice rolling type of person, and at that point in time is when the clock rang for the first time, and now Microhulic is like making RPGs and shit, and he's like the D&D master. But that
I feel like the Lupin clock might be ringing again.
yeah, it's not a clock that never rings. It's a clock that hasn't rung in a while.
Yeah, well, he had played other RPGs in the past, just kind of stopped.
Well, I
And it was
think
a
he didn't
long
like
time.
them or want to play them.
I mean, remember when PC gaming was dead?
yeah.
And then suddenly there was a tolling in the distance and Gaben
Well,
Rose.
Lupin is one of those things where the people in charge of it wisely, bring it up and hide it away, and then bring it up and hide it away. If it was always there, you'd get old.
Thing is, it is always there. It's just there's a lot of shitty Lupins that came out for a long time.
Not recently, though.
Yeah, so Fujiko Mine came out, and it was crazy good, and it brought a style of animation and storytelling that deeply rustles my jimmies in a good way. And that show is fantastic. So a bunch more Lupin came out after that in a similar style, like The Grave of Jigen
Well,
Daisuke.
there's a brand new Lupin, like the 4th season or whatever.
So Emily and I are actually going through from Fujiko Mine onward of every Lupin that's come out since then. We're just watching them as fast as we can
Why not?
because they're great. So there's a new Lupin the Third TV special coming out. I guess it came out on January 8th, so it just came out real recently, called Lupin the Third, the Italian Game. And my thing of the day is just, when we get to that, is just the trailer for this TV special. But holy shit, did that clock just ring so hard that it exploded.
I hope that this trailer, that none of the things in the trailer are actually in the movie.
I hope that all but one of the things in the trailer are in the movie, but happen in the first 5 minutes. Yeah. If this TV special,
The trailer is just a flashback Lupin has during the movie.
yeah, holy shit! Did I forget how much I love Lupin when Lupin is good? Also, this is the rare blue jacket Lupin.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah.
Anyway.
Not green.
Not red. Blue.
I'm not going to talk about it any further because this is the kind of thing, if you're an anime fan at all, just watch it. And if you're not an anime fan and you like anything even remotely vestigially similar to James Bond, watch some Lupin.
So if you want to talk about bells that ring and ring and ring and ring and never stop ringing and never will stop ringing even after we die, Pokemon is 20 years old.
God damn it.
That means when Pokemon came into existence in Japan, I was like 14 or something.
Which is weird because it's kind of like that Pepperidge Farm remembers where you kind of forget that things didn't exist forever. Like,
I remember when Pokemon came into existence, I saw it in a GamePro magazine, and I was like, oh, there's some kids game. Why are they making a big deal out of it?
Yeah.
And then my brother got it on his Game Boy Pocket, and then I played it a little bit, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize this thing that looked like garbage from a few pictures of, Pikachu was actually Earthbound.
see, no one near me got into it in high school. So when I was at RIT, I knew what Pokemon was. I didn't really care about it or think about it.
We were Poke battling in high school.
Yeah, I was not. So when I started paying attention to Pokemon, I just had this sense that it had been around forever, like as long as I'd lived. Like I couldn't think back to the origin of it.
I can.
Yeah, you can. So
it's 20 years old, and to celebrate this 20th anniversary, they're re-releasing like 3DSs that have Pokemon Red or Blue installed, and they're doing stuff with the CCG. They're basically going all out for this arbitrary number. I can't even imagine what they're going to do 5 years from now for the 25th anniversary or the 50th. I hope to see it.
you know what? So the 25th anniversary, because by then that Pokemon Ingress AR game will be in full swing. So on the 25th anniversary, what's going to happen probably is everyone's Pokedar is going to start going off to set up some giant event.
Yep.
And then every kid in the world is going to converge on like these monoliths in the centers of cities. And then the message will come in. There is a gun taped to the bottom of your chair.
So there's Pokemon Picross I'm playing a lot right now, by the way.
Why?
I like Picross.
Why?
What's wrong with Picross?
Boring Sudoku. It's the same as Sudoku.
It's better than Sudoku.
How so?
You get a picture at the end.
Ah, okay. So you get a 1-bit picture? Well, I guess not 1 bit.
Also, unlike Sudoku, you can get really, really big ones that are much more complex and interesting without making them like, impossible and unfun. If I give you a Sudoku that's like enormous with really tiny squares, you know, that goes from like 1 to 100 in each row and column, you're like, fuck that. But if I give you a P-cross that's like 30 by 15, it's like, that's doable.
I'll say fuck that and just play Advance Wars.
Anyway. So, one other thing that they're doing that's really fascinating is they have paid for a Pokemon 20th anniversary Superb Owl commercial.
Whoa!
I want to see this commercial.
What are they gonna? Are they gonna launch something with that?
I don't know.
Is this gonna be some big launch announcement?
A live-action commercial will air during the Superb Owl on February 7th.
I'll bet it's for the AR stuff.
I don't know. It
I had
will
money-
promote the 20th anniversary's "Train On" motto.
Train on.
Yeah, as in keep on training your Pokemon, not get on the train.
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe they'll introduce a train.
I don't know. It's train on, like keep training. Go for it, trainers, Pokemon trainers. Yeah.
Things of the day. Like I said, my thing of the day is the opening to Lupin III, the Italian game. Holy shit, do I want to watch this real bad.
I also want to watch it pretty bad.
Like, if you can imagine a video designed to make me filled with determination to see something. This is like when we saw the beginning of Project Blue Earth Chikyu and we were like, holy shit, this has everything. And then we were let down, so I hope this doesn't let me down.
So this is YouTube channel I discovered by someone linked to one of their videos, which is the one I'm going to talk about, which is called Retro Blasting. And they basically just review really old stuff, right? Like, you know, Ninja Turtles cartoon and Spider-Man Amazing Friends and, you know, Indiana Jones toys from back in the day. All, you know, nerdy 80s, 70s stuff, whatever. But the videos are well produced, actually. And they have this one video that is about the Dungeons & Dragons cartoon, the old one. Now, that's a cartoon that, you know, my memory of seeing like 1.5 episodes was not positive.
Because it was kind of before our time.
Yeah, it came out basically when I was 0, right? Ish. So, you know, I was not a fan of this thing. I thought it was, you know, bad, you know, just old bad stuff lumped in there with He-Man. But this review of it really sort of makes a case for why this was a good cartoon.
Good, like, relative to contemporary cartoons, or legit good?
Legit good. Like, they're making a case for it. And I kind of want to go back and verify whether that's true, but I also don't.
That's a dangerous direction to go, son.
I think your best bet is to just, instead of actually watching the D&D cartoon from back in the day, just watch this YouTube video that's actually like 26 minutes long, and you'll learn everything you need to know about it and see everything you need to see.
Might give you a false impression, though. What if it's wrong?
They're pretty convincing.
Yeah, I could make a pretty convincing video about a thing that I made up.
I'm not 100% saying that they're right. I'm just saying they're convincing.
Nah. In the meta moment, PAX South coming up real soon.
Whoa, PAX South.
Saturday, 11:30 a.m., Atari Game Design. Saturday, 5:30 p.m., Scared Yet? A discussion of horror in games. Sunday, 1 p.m., Designing Game Rules. Also, MagFest coming up pretty quick after PAX.
And then an Anime Boston. And then
an Anime Boston,
and
a Zenkai Con, and another PAX East. I put in 5 panels for PAX East, and let me tell you, assuming we go to Anime Boston, one of the ones I put in is another foreign anime openers panel. I got all new content now, and I see
found a new treasure trove.
I found such a deep treasure trove, and no, multiple people, it's not the Russian anime opener treasure trove. I know of that. I found further buried gold.
All right,
it's Oak Island. I just kept digging and kept digging. I think I've got enough content.
Too deep.
I've got enough. Scott, I went too deep. That dramatic reading might be one step below hitting the bottom. Things coming out. Balrog's killing everyone in the panel room. But yeah, it's gonna be good times. The MagFest schedule is looking pretty good. We're on like 7 panels, but we were split up, so like we're not both on all the panels. So we'll see how that goes. Book club book. I don't know. I'm still reading. I'm on like book 8 of the Wheel of Time at this point. Patreon's going strong.
Can I go twice on book club since you're not going?
But then I'll have to stop reading the Wheel of Time, which is continuing in its steady pace of being average quality fantasy book, the novel.
Okay.
And pretty much I'm just in a holding pattern until the R. Scott Becker book comes out, because that's coming. Patreon's going strong. We're not that far away from the beta episodes thing, and we put up the December Q&A. So, Doug, submission form for backers to submit questions for the January Q&A.
Don't do this.
However, people have said that they really like the Q&A episodes, and some people really like the Rims Rants things that are in there.
You could have spent your money on something good or spent your time watching something good. Like, I don't know, even that D&D cartoon is probably better than GeekNights.
I'll tell you what, if you got spare money, send it to Child's Play. If you still have spare money, send it to Neil Cicerenga's Patreon. And if you still got money, maybe put a little bit into ours.
Buy some food. Eat better lunch. You know, if you're eating like a PB&J for lunch, get a steak instead.
And, oh yeah, the GeekNights t-shirts are still selling like 1 or 2 a week, so t-shirts are back. It's a good t-shirt.
So you go get a nice t-shirt from Threadless.
It's a pretty nice t-shirt.
Or go to Tomato Co. Any shirt on all of Tomato Co. is better than the GeekNights shirt.
So guys, I'll tell you what. I have an Amazon merch account for us, and apparently they're hard to get for some reason. Like, there's a long backlog.
Really?
It's invite only.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I can sell up to 25 shirts at a time. So I'll tell you this. If you want to sell a t-shirt that it's a cool one through GeekNights, I'll give you like...
You're better off selling it anywhere else. The profit margin is so bad.
Yes, but the effort level is so low.
You could just open your own web store with like a Shopify for like no effort.
No, I've done that. Do you know how much of a fucking pain in the ass that is?
You could just make up PayPal, one link for PayPal and put it somewhere.
No, that's not what they're saving you. The thing is they print on demand, any size, any style, multiple t-shirt colors.
All right. If you're making a Geek Night shirt, this makes sense. If you want to send us a design and we'll give you the profits. But if you're making a shirt for your own shit, why would you do this?
No, if you just have a cool shirt that you want to let us sell for you with no
There are so many other
effort,
people that will sell it for you better.
They'll take more of a cut than this takes.
No, you can go like Threadless, Tomato Co, Save.
Yeah, Tomato Co is invite only, and there's minimum requirements.
I'm just saying.
If
you can't meet those requirements, your shirt isn't worth buying.
Yeah, unless you're about our level. We're not Tomato Co. I don't know if we could Tomato Co. We never tried to Tomato Co.
No.
So you may recall a time back in 2011, a heady time, where someone posted in our forum saying, "Hey guys, the new My Little Pony show is really good." And we were like, What?
And then I saw it posted a bunch of other places, and then it turned out to be true, so we watched it.
Yep, so we didn't even get in on that pony craze until about halfway through the first season. And many of you who are close to us may remember that it hit pretty hard.
It hit hard, and then it faded, but it didn't completely fade.
But it hit hard for like 2 years.
It hit hard for a while.
There was a period of about 2 years where we pretty much just wouldn't fucking shut up about ponies. And I still really like ponies, but I don't talk about it every day.
I have every single issue of the Pony comic series released by IDW.
And that comic series is fantastic.
It's so good.
It's better than the show right now.
Yeah, that's
Other than it doesn't have music you can listen to.
No, but yeah, if you want ponies and you're not getting enough, get the comics. They made this 2 main series, which is, Friendship is Magic, but there's also...
Main, like M-A-N-E?
There's also Friends Forever, which is like they have multiple pony comics, the same way that there's Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yep.
And Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends and Spider-Man 2099.
But especially if you really like the first 2 seasons of My Little Pony and then you're a little bit disappointed in like season 3 onward.
Quality... as ponies is good, but the quality has varied wildly, right? Even within the first season, which is still the best season, the Sonic Rainboom episode and the Visit the Dragon on the Mountain episode far surpass all the other episodes.
That dragon episode might have been one of the best episodes ever.
They far surpass all other episodes in all the other seasons, right?
I'm going to pull up a list of all the...
The quality goes from high to low, right? But recently, I caught up on every single episode through the newest season, which is completed. Rim, I think, is a little bit behind. He's in the...
I've seen most of the current season, but I've seen all those like Rainbow Rocks nonsense things.
I didn't see any of the ones where they're not ponies.
So I know some and
I know that they never came into play in the actual cartoon where they are ponies.
Other way around, they do, and both worlds exist side by side, and there's some back and forth stuff going on. But anyway,
I didn't see any back and forth stuff in the show.
You don't need to. You do not need to see that garbage. But I digress.
Okay.
So My Little Pony is about a pretty long run, and we haven't talked about
It's
it
still
on
running.
GeekNights.
There's going to be another season, I
Yeah,
assume.
season 6 is confirmed for this year.
All right.
And season 5 just ended. So, much like we did with Adventure Time, when a show is long running, you can't just review it once and be,
And
well,
you can't do a final thoughts, because when's the final thoughts going to be?
yeah, I mean,
Let's do Flintstones final thoughts. Yeah, I mean, it's like
Yeah.
the thing didn't
it's
end.
the Honeymooners, but more family friendly.
Right, but I mean, you know, that people don't remember that show ran for fuck ever, right? You know, so it's like if it was still running, we might not, you know, when can you do a final thoughts on it? You
Yeah,
can only
so
do
get
final
this.
thoughts on
So,
things that are limited, like anime.
As
26
of now,
done.
there are like 117 episodes of My Little Pony Friendship as Magic.
Not
That
as
is-
many as Fist of the North Star.
That is a little over half as many as Sailor Moon's run.
Yep.
A lot happened in Sailor Moon. Like, if I
Oh,
was
yeah.
going to review Sailor Moon based on season 1, very different thoughts from if I've seen S or Stars. So, I still really like My Little Pony. And I actually think, like, season 4, especially the recent season 5, the average quality has been rising from, I think, season 3 kind of had this not deep drop, but not the best episodes. Like, you could definitely see
Yeah, I agree that if you average each season's total episodes together, that third season was definitely the weakest season.
Well,
but it still had some good stuff in it.
I mean,
it
it was
wasn't
partly-
bad. It didn't make you want to stop watching.
Season 1 was Lauren Faust, like 100%, and season 2 was Lauren Faust's direction is still there.
Yep.
Season 3 was when they started having to go off on their own, and they made a lot of decisions that made the show a little less good. It's hard. If I had to describe what bothered me about it, it wasn't that the show got like simpler or anything. It was more that in the first 2 seasons, what I liked about the show was that they were very careful to release like little bits of information about the world tangentially, like you'd see something in the foreground, or you'd see a character do a thing, and it would imply a bunch of stuff of the world, but they wouldn't then zoom the camera on that and try to explain it all with a giant flashback. And as the show goes on, they've really started to say, hey, you want to know the deal about this? Let's zoom in on this and do a huge flashback and tell you the story. And they also stopped paying attention to the like rigid idea that the ponies have hooves and can't just hold stuff. Because in more recent episodes, they increasingly kind of just ignore that and just, yeah, that pony's holding a cane because, well, we just animated it that way.
Yep.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, well. But yeah, in the more recent seasons, the average quality has been going up, but you know, I think the variance has increased, right? There's some episodes in the newest season that are like so good, and there's some that are so bad. Like probably some of the worst episodes in the whole show.
The fan pandering is what's doing it.
Yeah, there was an episode. What was the title of it? Do you have it there?
I'm pulling up the list.
There was an episode.
Well, Servers, the best episode of this season, far and away, was Rarity Investigates.
No, well, that was the It's tied, I think, with the Moondancer episode.
I can't believe just because they're
But Rarity
Moondancer.
Investigates was so good.
Yeah, especially because at the end, and his disingenuous smile.
Yeah.
Duh.
Duh. But yeah, there was an episode in the newest season that consisted
Slice of life.
Right. It consisted of nothing.
Why does this episode have its own Wikipedia page?
Because it's so much fan pandering references they have to explain, right? So the whole episode was nothing but taking the fanon, right, and making it canon. Every single thing that the online pony community, right, like created, like all these personalities for characters and relationships between the characters.
Even
and,
names in some cases.
you know, and like Doctor Who jokes. And it was basically like watching Tumblr on TV. And it was like, oh my God, kill it with fire. Kill
Now,
it with fire.
There is a way to cater to your fans and their theories without just taking all their bullshit and cramming it into your show. The ponies just kind of did the opposite of what they should have done in this regard. But at the same time, I say should have. The fans of My Little Pony loved it, as far as I can tell.
I mean, if you're the kind of person who writes a, Sherlock Pones fanfic, and then suddenly, you like that, you're really into that, and then suddenly it's real, and you got acknowledgement from the people who make the Pones. That's like, that's like if you go to some Bieber concert and he touches you, right?
Yeah. It's just, I liked it more when it was subtle. Like, the show had a lot of cameos of, like, hey, that's obviously a caricature of a famous person, but they didn't zoom in on it quite like they do with this fan stuff later.
Yeah, that episode was just so bad. But thankfully, they left it out of further episodes. They contained it within that one beast.
Yep,
And didn't let it leak into the other episodes, some of which were quite good.
What actually, the thing that has been most disappointing about the episodes that weren't great is that they had that conceit of, well, Twilight's too powerful now, and we need this plot of, let's just take these 3 characters and send them off on an adventure so we can write a story just about them.
Yeah.
Which, just from a production standpoint, makes sense, because I heard of a rumor and an anecdote that Teen Titans Go is apparently really hard to storyboard and put together because every shot is all the characters all the time. Like, there's a bunch of characters, and they're always there, always in the shot, always doing their thing. They're all involved in every plot.
I mean, the same thing goes, you read X-Men comics, right? And when I was a kid, I'd buy an X-Men comic, and on the cover would be Gambit. And you'd read that issue, and the only X-Men who would be in that issue would be like Gambit, Rogue. They talked to Professor X once, and maybe Wolverine was there because he's in every issue.
Yep. Where's Beast? Oh, he's working on the Samaflange.
And you'd only see all the X-Men at once in, like, X-Men #1. Here's a shot of them all in the planning room deciding on what to do. But then they'd only be in this, 2-page spread. You just see them there. And only a few of them would actually, be talking and directly involved in the plot of that issue, right? You can't write a story with like 100 characters all actively doing everything all the time.
Yep. It was pretty hit or miss, though, how well they did this.
Right. Well,
and they didn't use it as often as I expected them to.
Well, the thing I liked about it was that they brought back to the thing that made me like the first season so much, which is the fantasy adventure. It's like there's a magical table that tells you where to go on a magical quest.
Yep.
There's all these magical questions about elements of harmony and stuff that were, it's like the real reason to watch the show is for epic fantasy stuff. And they brought that back. But occasionally, it's like the table tells, only Applejack and Pinkie Pie should be going this way.
Now,
no one else can go on this quest.
Yep, which could make sense. Like, you could make, like, if the rest of them went, then, like...
The table knows who needs to go to solve the problem. If anyone else went, the problem wouldn't be solved.
It would be okay if the table itself became a plot point a la Quantum Leap.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't.
I think it will.
I don't think it will.
I think it will.
Well, I guess it's more that the table...
all of the previous table equivalents in the show were plot points.
True.
Such as writing letters to the princess and such.
But the plot points in the first few seasons were much more subtle or much more open-ended. And these plot points that have been introduced increasingly as the show goes on become very literal and direct and are spotlighted and solve a specific problem immediately and are fully explained at some point.
Yeah.
Which is kind of boring sometimes.
Another thing I like is that because the show is sort of expanded, the ponies are like getting around, right? It's not just Ponyville. It's like, we're going to Canterlot. We're going to, Cloudsdale.
They went to the Griffin Town, and it turns out all Griffins are just like horrible people.
We're just going to Manhattan. We're going on a quest into the scary place. We're,
especially with Manhattan, they're going back and forth.
We're riding that train all the time.
They're going to Manhattan kind of often and like coming and going and doing stuff. Like Rarity opens a business there.
We're super important ponies. We got to go around Equestria doing stuff. We can't just be sitting in Ponyville all day.
But I like that aspect that like Rarity like tries to open a shop there, and the resolution is kind of like, yeah, her shop's still there. Like stuff happens. Like she'll live there for a week in an apartment doing something. Like. It's more like a real show that has a bunch of stuff going on. Like Seinfeld, they're going places and doing things. I mean, I still like the show a lot.
Yeah, it's still good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's just talk about the really good episode. So the Moondancer episode, right, harkens back. It takes a reference from the very first episode.
That is some Simpsons quality back referencing right there.
Is a part in the first episode of the whole show, season 1.
What about Moondancer's party?
Right, Spike is like, hey, Moondancer's having a party. Do you want to go? And Twilight's like, no, I'm busy. And then they even make a note in that first episode that Spike bought Moondancer a present that never got delivered or anything.
Yep.
And in this Moondancer episode, basically Twilight remembers that, that she had friends before Ponyville.
Sort of. She had friends, but she wasn't super close to them.
She wasn't close to them because she was just studying, and she realized she's the princess of friendship, and she used to really suck at friends, which is part of why she became the princess of friendship. So she goes back to like her old Counterlot house, which I guess she just abandoned. Who was paying for it? I guess it was princess territory. Like you
It's
know,
federal territory.
it's
clearly.
part of the palace, and like no one had ever bothered to go there or clean it up or look at it since the first episode where she just ran out and got in a balloon and
Well,
left.
because she was special. I remember she was elevated to that position because the dragon thing worked. Usually that
yeah, but it's like
dragon thing didn't work.
if I just leave my house and don't come back, someone's gonna go in there.
Maybe.
But everything's still there, including the present for Moondancer and everything. And then the episode is all about like who is Moondancer and all that.
Though, there's a problem with that episode that happened in a couple other episodes too that bothers me a little bit, that a lot of times
Yeah, there was that one flaw with the episode.
the solution to the problems of a person, well, I guess a pony, tend to be really simplistic.
Yeah.
And tend to have kind of a bad message for like a kid who might be watching the show, because the
Yeah.
plot of Moondancer's episode was basically she became an introverted shut-in because of that incident.
And that's not true. There's no way.
Yeah, it really
One incident is going to make someone like that.
It would have been a lot better if the gift and that if she is just an introvert and that's fine and they resolved it a much more subtle way.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, with some of the Fluttershy episodes, they did that really well because
Like
there's
the,
one.
the scary Halloween one.
Yeah, oh my God, she's so bad.
That's
at
probably that's right underneath those other two episodes
that.
in terms of
those
goodness.
those animus that she made.
Oh my god.
I love how that she's totally a weeb. And then
Well, I
anime-
like that also is they sort of giving you some sense of time and that they're re-celebrating all the holidays. There was another Grand Galloping Gala. There was another all Spooky Eve. There was another Heartswarming. Right? It's like
Yep.
another year has gone through. The seasons change again. They didn't do another winter wrap up. They should.
But like, look at the moral of that episode was Fluttershy. It's totally okay that she's not good at or into something. Like, fine, cool, the end. They didn't fix her and make her love the holiday.
Nope.
She just did her own thing.
But
And
they did show her being awesome at it.
Yeah. They did the same thing with Fluttershy in the one with her singing,
Mm-hmm.
with the lip singing thing, and now she got really into it. And then the moral at the end wasn't, oh, now she's over her stage fright. It was, yeah, she's still into singing, but she still has stage fright, and that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like half the episodes,
The one
in
where
the
she
new
became a
seasons-
model
Yup.
and was like, I don't want to be a model anymore, even though I was famous.
But half the episodes in the new seasons have a good, complex, or at least nuanced moral like that. And the
Well, I
other
mean, the
half,
Harrison Bergeron episode.
yeah, the
And
Harrison
you didn't see,
Bergeron
and you
episode-
didn't see the final episode of the season where the Harrison Bergeron pony comes back.
I didn't know she was gonna come back.
I didn't know either because they were talking about someone. I'm like, who are they talking about? I'm like, oh, the Harrison Bergeron pony.
Is it done well and have a nuanced point, or is it
It's a little bit, I don't know.
a little bit simplistic again?
No, I mean, it's okay.
All right. But see, that's the quality of individual episodes has been kind of inconsistent, and it's getting, I think, more swingy. But at the same time, the average quality is still slowly increasing again.
Mm.
Just nothing's quite as good as that season 2.
Season 1.
Yeah, season 1, season 2 had a lot of good stuff going on though.
Sure, why not? Didn't have a rainbow thing.
No, but it did have that Hearts and Hooves Day episode. Also, Dragon Quest was season 2.
Really? No. Well, Dragon Quest is the one where there's a bunch that Spike goes to
Sparkle,
meet the dragon.
or Crackle.
Yes, that's Dragon Quest.
Yes,
The-
which
the-
that was a good episode.
Sure, but no, the good dragon episode was season 1, which is the one with Fluttershy going up the mountain and talking to the dragon.
Yep. So pretty much, if you've been ignoring, because there's a lot of cartoons that you can watch right now.
That are probably better than ponies, actually.
Yeah, but like the wide set, like
But-
all the stuff that I watch, and I kind of go through phases. Like I didn't watch a lot of ponies for a while because I was watching a whole bunch of Gumball and Steven Universe and Adventure Time, and I sort of rotate in and out. So if you rotated ponies out because you're watching all this other stuff, it's actually a pretty good time to rotate it back in. One Punch Man is done.
Yep.
Ponies is done now. You can just catch up until
Yep.
season 6.
That's how I
there's-
did. I just watched all like the ponies I missed like recently.
Adventure Time is just starting up again after Stakes.
Oh well. I'll see that
Yep.
at this weekend.
Yeah, Adventure Time is, if I had to list the shows that I watch immediately when they come out, it's still just Adventure Time and Steven Universe. Those are the only shows I watch like immediately the second they come out.
I don't watch anything immediately anymore.
I'll do Adventure Time immediately because that show's just too good. This This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geek Nights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geek Nights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geek Nights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.
And our wonderful patrons for this episode are, in order of the amount of money they give us: Nicholas Brandow, Rebecca Dunn, Amanda Duchette, James David White, Christian Kuntz, Jess, Mechanical Mind, William Eisenrose. The donation is coming from inside the house: Clinton Walton, MyStady.com, Phil Ulrich, Renee from New Zealand, Robert Lee, Ryan Perrin, Drew Openlander, Rare Lavelle, Brian Cedroni, Rochelle Montanona, Finn Eric Silverod, and then he placed a single finger upon his mustache: Kinetic Man, Aaron Cerise, Chris Midkiff, Chris Knox, Shut Up Scott and Take My Money, Samuel Cordery, Daniel Redmond, Chris Haddad, Doug Schneider, Sean Klein, Chris Reimer, and Thomas Hahn. I'm working hard on the Utena episode. We've got, the 2 recorded already, but I'm also working on all our panels for PAX because it's my turn to do the panels. But luckily, that'll really dry up because once I actually get these panels done, we're hopefully doing pretty much the same panels at MagFest, along with all the other panels that are actually a panel of people. And at least one of them is going to overlap with PAX East. So a lot of the work I'm doing now is going to get us through many months of convention season, meaning I'll have more time to finish Utena, to do more Rims rants, to do all that other stuff. Questions for the January Q&A will open shortly. And now I leave you with something pretty weird.
Name, this guy's a real old-timer. Kind of the grandfather of VR.
Dr. Morgan?
Who are you?
I'm Sydney Bloom.
What do you want with me? Sydney Bloom.
I want to know how virtual reality works.
Are we communicating right now?
I guess?
But you can't see me, and I can't see you. Is that right?
Yeah?
We're both having an experience that requires each of our minds to fill in the blanks. Isn't that right?
Yeah?
Well, that's it. You just had a virtual experience. Now, going back to your sorority house,
But I...
forget it. If you're not a wide-eyed sorority girl, you're a cyber geek who'd rather shove quarters into some machine than cry for Pagliacci.
I have to talk to somebody. Sorry.
Now, that's the smartest thing you said since you walked in here, Sydney Bloom. Well, so what do you need to talk to somebody about? It sounds like you're all set up.
Well, how far have you gotten?
With who?
No. I mean, like how real?
As real as I want to get.
All 5 senses?
3. Once was smell when my wiring caught fire. Why? What can you do?
Just call it a theory.
Hey, look. Whatever it is that you're doing, just stop.
But I can't.
Yeah, you can. Get a hobby. Write a novel. Watch TV. You'll be much better off in the long run. I'm sorry, I can't help you.